2% is okay, 4% is okay, but look, my salary is not increasing about 4% per year.
Quebec tenants and a housing advocacy group are denouncing the Housing Tribunal's recommendation to landlords to raise rents by 4% in 2024. It's one of the largest single-year increase recommendations in the last several years. According to the latest guidelines released by the TAL Tuesday, tenants living in homes where heat is electric or is not included in the rent should see their rent increase by an average of 4% compared to 2.3% last year.
Most landlords propose their tenants raises that go way beyond what is recommended by the tribunal administratif du logement. So it's going to be another really tough year for tenants.
Among them, Mathieu from Hochelaga Maisonneuve.
The rent are cheap here, cheaper than everywhere else in Montreal, but still it's increasing and getting crazy here.
He's about to start a new job after being laid off. He's now on his feet, but at one point he questioned how he would afford his rent.
It was really hard. At least I have some spare, but it's getting really hard. I'm really glad that I went back on the market job fast. Otherwise, I could not pay my rent anymore, and maybe I will end up on the street. What I am fighting against is like the 15 or 20 increase %.
If it continues at this rhythm, the system itself will break, because all the system is based on the capacity of the tenants to pay.
A group representing landlords say the Housing Tribunal's calculations don't go far enough in taking into account expenses, including rising interest rates.
If we have some of our tenants that are facing difficulties, we need to address that in the same way that we address that because the food is too expensive. So we need to help them on an individual basis, not to say as a general rule, let's make sure that no landlord makes money in Quebec because we're going to have the result that we're seeing now. We're not building enough.
The tribunal administratif du logement says their calculations are applicable to rent-setting appeals brought before them and not direct recommendations to landlords. In a statement to City News, a spokesperson says when renewing a lease, the landlord is free to request in a notice given to the tenant a rent increase that they consider fair and reasonable. The tenant has the right to accept or refuse this increase within 1 month of receiving the notice from the landlord. If the tenant refuses the increase, they may remain in the dwelling. Meanwhile, advocates are calling for a rent freeze, so tenants like Mathieu don't have to adapt.
Tighten a little bit my expenses because we don't know what today, tomorrow will be about.
In Montreal, Alyssia Rubertucci, City News.